Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. My name is David Letterman. Today is Tuesday, November... What are we doing here?
November 18th, isn't
November 18th. You mean
Yes,
we're
it is.
halfway finished with November? That didn't take long, did it?
Not at all. It was painless. It was painless.
Welcome, anyway, to what we think is just a wonderful show, or as best as we could do on short notice. No, it's a fine show. I'll tell you what, I'm a little confused now. Maybe you can help me out with this puzzle. I've got a luncheon date next week with the president of North Korea, and I don't know if I should make other plans, or I just... Is the guy alive now or dead now? We don't know. Nobody knows. Oh, well, the New York Times had an interesting poll in this morning's paper. Did you see this, Paul?
The poll in the Times this
Yeah.
morning? No, I missed it, actually.
Yeah.
Spelled coffee on that.
It was
I spelled
the-
coffee right on that part of the Times.
Yeah, I see. It was the top 3 worries of New York City teenagers. You know, I guess viewing around the other parts of the country, you're not aware, really, of the pressure and the sociological angst that people here in New York City feel. But these are the top 3 concerns of New York City teenagers. One, of course, would be school. Number 2, obviously, probably relationships. I can agree with that. And the third worry of New York City teenagers, whether or not they'll be tried as adults. So, well, I look like I just woke up, don't I? It's the hair. You know, I still haven't got a fix on this hair, Paul.
I think it's coming in quite nicely.
Is it all right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this was a landmark Freedom of Information Act case. The Supreme Court yesterday ruled that New York State does not, now, they do not have to furnish home phone numbers of female lottery winners to Klaus von Bülow. Boy, I thought that Kevin, get out the really funny jokes. Where are they? Where do you keep the real blockbusters, Kevin? Downstairs. Kevin left them in his car. Kevin brings these in with him from home every day. Yeah. What are we doing here, Paul? Let's go. Let's,
We're doing a show, yeah. We're doing a crazy show. We're doing an up-tempo kind of a show. We're doing a nutty show. We're doing a kind of thing called the David Letterman
see that?
Show.
No, that didn't help.
Are
See?
we?
No, that didn't help.
We're not?
On the program
We're not
tonight,
doing
on the
that.
broadcast, on tonight's... Do you understand what we're doing here? We're in a tiny little room in the center of Manhattan in
Yes.
New York City, and we're doing a program that soon will be broadcast all over the free world.
They don't care. They don't
Nobody
care.
cares. Nobody cares. I have a freshly pressed coat on.
Lost for the coat.
On the program tonight, the one that's soon to be broadcast all over the free world, Ann Miller is here, Jeff Altman, and Phyllis Hyman, ladies and gentlemen. And now, Bill. Thank you. Are we still doing the jingle nonsense? Here it is, my favorite part of the show. There you go. That's worth the price of admission, isn't it?
Thank you very much. And now back to you in the audience.
Thank you so much.
David
Thank you,
Letterman.
thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Tonight we're up here visiting with audience members, and the category for tonight's visit is Brush with Greatness. Do you understand how this works? If at some point in your life before now you've had an encounter with a famous person or an infamous person, you'll tell us about it now, and I believe we've had these enhanced by the writers. Is that correct? Embellished by our fine staff of young writers. Is there a Larry Dingman in the crowd? Larry Dingman. Apparently he's not here, so... But you do not need to be present to win, so we'll mail the gift certificate to Larry Dingman's home. No, he's... Hi, Larry. How are you?
Hi.
Nice to see you. Where are you from, Larry?
Kansas City.
Kansas City, one of the great
City.
cities in North America, isn't it?
It truly is.
Now, is it true, Larry, that there are more fountains in Kansas City than in Rome?
It's all true.
It is all true. What do you do
all
for a
true.
living in Kansas City?
I work for an airline,
What do you? Can you mention the airline? Can you mention the airline?
TWA,
TWA. You know, I've flown on the TWA.
I know you have.
Yeah. How do you know that?
because I have friends that have had you on airplanes before.
What do you mean by had me on airplane?
As a gracious guest.
Larry, what do you do for the airline, Larry?
I'm a flight service manager.
Flight service manager. What does that mean? You make sure everything is ready to go when they close the doors?
Everybody eats.
Everybody eats?
Yeah.
So you're on board or you're
On board.
loaded, you actually fly then, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Larry, tell us about your brush with greatness.
Well, years ago, I had Barbara Streisand on an airplane from L.A. to New York, and
Now, is she a nice woman?
she's an extremely nice woman.
She's not temperamental and kind of...
No, she was the exact opposite.
Very nice woman, okay.
And she had a couple of big dogs with her.
What kind of dogs?
One big Samoyed
Yeah.
mother and something else that I really can't remember.
A Samoyed mother?
Yeah, well,
now, did these dogs fly in the passenger section?
they sure
Now,
did.
you can't do that. I have dogs, and nobody ever lets me bring them on under the passenger part of the
When
plane.
you're Barbara Streisand, you bring
Oh,
on
now, don't tell
whatever
me
you
that,
want.
Larry.
Yeah.
You really? The dogs were, like,
The
running up
dogs
and
are,
down
like,
the aisle?
running right, I mean, they're right there at her seat, you bet.
Eating food off everyone's tray?
Well, we try to refrain from that. but-
Okay, there's more to the story, right? Barbara
Okay,
Streisand
it
and
got
her dogs?
really nasty and really bumpy.
Turbulence?
Turbulence, yeah, and kind of nasty. And I'm kneeling down by her seat to say something stupid like, you know, don't worry, it's fine.
You talking to her or the dogs now, Larry?
To her,
Oh,
you know.
talking to her.
But the dog talked back. He leaned over and threw up on my leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but there's more to this, isn't there, Larry, than what you've told us so far?
Funny you should ask,
All right.
Dave. Later in the flight, I stopped to check on Miss Streisand, and the dog seemed fine, but she was feeling kind of queasy from the in-flight meal of beef stroganoff. Another accident occurred. I could have gotten that uniform clean, but for me, it'll always be a cherished moment.
Ooh, brother. What do we have here for Larry?
A winter hat filled with homemade chocolates.
Oh, boy.
Is that the chocolate you just got from the other guy?
No, we're not recycling audience gifts here. Now, this is an NBC stocking cap filled with chocolates. I can't vouch for the quality, but... Oh, those aren't bad. There you go, Larry.
Thanks.
Nice meeting you. Have a good career. Lisa Berger. Do we have a Lisa Berger? Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you. Where are you from?
I'm from Huntington, Long Island.
And do you live and work in Huntington, or live there and work here?
I work here.
What kind of work do you do?
Sales
What kind of sales do you do?
in the garment district.
Garment district? And is that retail, wholesale? What do you do?
Wholesale.
And is that exciting work?
Yes.
How long have you been doing that?
A year.
And what kind of garments are we selling?
Sportswear.
And is this some of the things you might be selling?
No.
Okay. Lisa, tell us about your brush with greatness.
Well, my sister dated Jerry Cooney a few years back.
Oh, boy. Now, that's pretty exciting, isn't
Yeah,
it?
he's a big guy, and I didn't know who he was.
Mm-hmm.
So when he came over the house, well, I saw he was this huge guy with a bunch of
Bruises.
gold. Yeah, you can say that. Gold boxing gloves. He
Uh-huh.
had these huge gold boxing gloves, and he had Passover dinner at our house.
Oh, that's very nice. Seemed like a
Yeah.
nice enough guy?
Yeah, he seemed nice.
Yeah. But
Big.
there's probably more to this than you've told us, right?
Yes, there is,
All right, Lisa,
David.
go ahead and finish
well,
this one up.
one night, Jerry almost dropped my favorite Chicago album, and I yelled at him to be more careful.
Mm-hmm.
To my surprise, he fell to his knees and covered his head with his hands. Please don't hit me. The cowering giant whimpered. I'll do anything you say. I told him to get the hell out, and my sister never saw him again.
Oh, my. What an ugly story. There you go, Lisa. Stocking cap full of chocolates.
The whole thing?
The whole thing is yours. Thank you very much. Nice meeting you. Lisa Berger. Lisa was not thrilled with any aspect of that transaction. Is there a Bill Eisenberg here? Mr. Eisenberg. Bill Eisenberg. You left your lights on in the Pontiac. Bill. Oh, hi, Bill. How are you?
How you doing?
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Where are you from, sir?
Great Neck, Long Island.
And you live in the city and live in Great Neck, work in the city?
Right.
Yeah, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a podiatrist.
Podiatrist? And that means you're handling feet all day, doesn't it? Now, do you like that kind of work?
Yeah, it's all right.
Really? Now, what happens? Somebody comes in with their feet, then what happens? You put on the rubber gloves.
Put on the rubber gloves.
Tell us, Bill, about your brush with, now, does this have to do with somebody's feet?
No, no.
Oh, good, all right.
A couple of years ago, late at night, I was driving in Midtown, and I was trying to run a light, turning from the...
Good example for the kids watching tonight, Bill.
Right. So as I was running it, some guy darted out across from the street and started slamming his hands on my hood, screaming and cursing at me. And I was just about to get out of the car and let him have it when I saw it was Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis?
Yeah.
Television motion picture star Jerry
That's
Lewis?
right.
All right, and then what happened?
Well, I just turned to my wife and said, "Hey, you're Jerry Lewis."
Yeah.
And finished cursing me out and
Go to the card now.
go to the card. Well, thinking quickly, I switched to a phony French accent and began calling Jerry a genius. He instantly became agreeable and offered me a job as a chauffeur, saying he would pay me with what he called telethon money.
That's the ugliest. Whoever is responsible for this will dismiss them immediately following the show. Thank you very much. There's your stocking cap full of chocolate, sir. Nice meeting you. Bill Eisenberg, a podiatrist. You all right? All right. We have to do a commercial. We'll be right back. Thank you very much. Hi. Oh, yeah, I'm Dave. Thank you. Welcome back to the program, folks. Jeff Altman is here, Phyllis Hyman, and Ann Miller, who you're going to meet in just a second. Everything all right with you, Paul?
Just fabulous.
Yeah. It's a great time of year in New York now, isn't it?
It's exciting.
It's
autumn in New York.
It's autumnal.
Why does it feel so inviting?
Are those song lyrics?
Autumn in New York.
Yeah. And in a couple of weeks, they'll light up that giant tree. You know how tall the tree is outside of Radio City?
This year?
Rockefeller Plaza?
How tall is it this year?
16,000 feet. 16,000 feet tall, yeah. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Every time that tree goes up,
yeah, it
makes me feel very, very old.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, because I've been working in this building for
a long time.
12 years now. And every year the tree goes up, and every year it's just a huge traffic jam in Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, but you shouldn't feel old because you're truly one of America's most beloved entertainers.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I feel the same way about you.
Oh, thanks, Paul. Thank you very much.
And about Ann Miller.
But, you know, you'll see plenty of footage of the tree on television news reports, and when they light it up, you'll see all of that. So don't come into the city. And if you do come into the city, don't bring your car, okay? Just...
Please.
From the home office in Milwaukee, do we have time to do this now, or should we bring out Ann Miller? Because I know Ann Miller is eager to come out here. She's a trooper, in the truest sense of the word.
She certainly is.
From the home office in Milwaukee, after the first of the year, of course, they're moving to Scottsdale, Arizona, but that's not our problem. Here we go. Tonight's category, top 10 complaints about the new Bruce Springsteen album set. Number 10, new songs, Hats Off to Factory Owners, A Disappointing New Direction. Number 9, Hand Puppet Lamb Chop, Over-mic'd and Duet. Number 8, record number 5, Mostly Recipes. Number 7, liner notes, actually synopsis of Old Trapper John M.D. episode. I'm very close to calling this one off. One more, if it doesn't work, tell Anton we're not doing it tonight. Number 6, wife Julianne's horrible screeching on Give Peace a Chance, Mars Side 2. You're lying. Number 5, Clarence Clemens tribute to Edith Piaf, A Bad Idea. Number 4, master of pan flute Zamfir buried in the audio mix. Number 3, loudmouth friends come over and sing along with Thunder Road till 4 in the morning. Number 2, confesses to a series of unsolved murders on side 6. I don't know. I guess I might as well finish it. We're 9/10 of the way there.
Oh, yeah. As they say on the West Coast, go for it.
They say that on the West Coast?
They do. Last I was out there, they
said
saying.
go for it. All right, here we go. The number 1 complaint about the new Bruce Springsteen album set. Box set, too bulky to slip down shirt. Thing's not working. Ping pong machine's not working. Thank God this is not an airplane. We'd have to circle now and dump fuel and make an emergency landing. It's mighty quiet in here. Our first guest tonight started her career in Hollywood at the age of 11. Wow. And went on to star in such motion pictures as Room Service with the Marx Brothers, You Can't Take It With You, On the Town, and the list goes on and on and on, as they say on talk shows. She also spent 7.5 years doing a Broadway show called Sugar Babies, and she holds the record as the fastest tap dancer in the world. Please welcome Ann Miller. Hi, Ann. Nice to see you. How are you? Ann Miller. Nice to see you.
Well, it's lovely to see
You're
you.
really all dressed up. Did you dress up just for the show, or
Well, I thought I'd look nice coming
you
to
do.
see you.
You look great.
How nice you look.
Well, thank you. Let me see this bag. This is a thing of beauty. Are
I've
these?
had that for about 20 years. I got it on my first and only trip to Paris.
You've only been to Paris once.
Only once, yeah.
How long ago was that?
About 20 years ago.
Yeah. Would you like to go back?
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. Well, I don't know. I hear now there's a lot of trouble over there. They don't like Americans anymore, and that's sad.
But they'd like you. You'd dance your way into their hearts.
I hope so.
Now,
I'm so excited. I had lunch today. I have a very beautiful producer. Her name is Terry Allen Kramer, and she surprised me, and she's offered me the London company of Sugar Babies, and I have never, ever worked overseas, and that really excited me because the only thing is we're not sure Mickey's going to do it, and I adore Mickey Rooney. I don't know whether any of you do, but I think he's super.
Now, why wouldn't people adore Mickey Rooney?
I don't know, but you never know.
Yeah.
Everybody loves you, that's for
no,
sure.
they don't. Now,
Yeah,
how long have...
I do.
How long did you work with Mickey Rooney the first time?
7.5 years.
Oh, my.
And I'd never worked with him before. We were both under contract to MGM, but I'd never worked with him before until Sugar Babies, and we had a ball. He's a very good friend, and it was just one of those wonderful things where we set a record as the longest-running show with 2 stars in it, and the 2 original stars.
Right.
So I was very pleased about that, and it was tough, you know, doing 8 shows a week. But it was exciting. With 3 years in New York, and we were 4.5 years on the road.
But he must have just driven you nuts.
Well, at times, yes, because he's not easy. You know, you never know what he's going to do. Well, like you never know what you're going to do. And sometimes he would throw me a curve, but he's funny. He's a funny man.
But occasionally you probably want to just drive an elbow right to the side of his head. Boom!
Listen, there was a scene in the show where I had to hit him. I played a school teacher, and sometimes I'm telling you, David, I really belted him. I gave it to him, but I loved him, and we wound up.
He's just like a kid, isn't he?
He's
Probably
like
just
a big, overgrown kid.
Yeah.
He goes right out of the theater, goes home, goes to sleep, goes to the racetrack, or plays golf. That's his life. Yeah. And I very rarely saw Mickey during the daytime.
Now, and probably good advice for all of us. But I have no idea what that means. So now, if he doesn't take the job in London, will they get somebody to take his place?
I guess they'll probably get a British star.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
that might be good.
Hope that he would do
Yeah, that would be nice.
So fast.
Now, speaking of kids, now I find this unbelievable. This is a photograph of you and the Marx Brothers, and this was taken on, what was the movie? This is Room Service?
This was Room Service.
And
I was an old bag of 15 when I did it.
Now, is this where you lied about your age and said you were actually...
I was RKO, and I fibbed about my age. I had to, because I was discovered working in a nightclub when I was 11, and I had to tell them. They asked me how old I was, and I said I'm 18, because the boss of the nightclub was sitting at the table. Yeah. And Lucille Ball and Benny Rubin discovered me.
Now, what kind of things were you doing? Were you singing and dancing in a nightclub?
There was a big club in San Francisco. It was kind of the first of those Vegas syndrome, Bal Tabarin, and they had dinner first, and they watched this huge show.
Big supper club kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. And it was wonderful. And Mr. Rubin and Lucille Ball, she had a big film premiered up there, and they came in after the theater, and they saw me and fell in love with my dancing, and that's when Eleanor Powell was going so great, and they put me under contract.
Yeah, and you went out there, and what happened when you met the Marx Brothers? Did they know that you were just 15 years old?
I was an old, listen, I did New Faces, I did Life at the Party, Stage Door with Ginger Rogers, I was barred by Columbia for You Can't Take It With You, and I played the crazy sister of Gene Autry.
You were barred?
Barred from
borrowed.
I'm sorry, that's my Texas accent.
I'm sorry, I thought you said you were barred.
Barred from RKO to Columbia. And by the time I got around to doing Room Service, I'd been seasoned pretty well in
So at
film.
15, you'd done like a half a dozen films.
Just about. Yeah. And when I walked on the set and met the Marx Brothers, I had my mother with me. I'll never forget Groucho. The first thing, they said, this is Ann Miller, because I was going to be the ingenue lead, and he dropped his pants,
there
Groucho.
You go. Yeah.
Then Harpo chased me around the set with a horn. Yeah. I was so scared of those men, but they were great.
That's better than staying in school, that kind of thing. Sure. We'll do a commercial here, and then we'll be back to talk some more with Ann Miller.